All right, hello everyone. We are back with the final installment of this month's mini-sodes called Mindset Moments. We have been exploring the analogy of having a solid mindset being similar to that of being well-equipped with armor for battle. So it's kind of an extreme analogy, but I really thought it worked really well. This is the last episode in this series, but if you liked it, please give us a rating. I don't really know how you do that on Spotify, but I guess y'all can figure it out until we're on iTunes. Send us a message on social media, screenshot when you're listening, and then shoot me an email so I know to keep these things coming. And let me know, as always, what questions do you have about mindset, entrepreneurship, running a business, running a personal styling business? We're going to be back with, I think, a series that's going to be a little style specific for y'all soon, and I'm excited about that. But so far, we have talked about and asked the question of, are you equipped for the mindset battle? Do you have what it takes? We asked, what's piercing your mindset armor? What are 3 things that I believe really get into that armor that you need to equip against? And then we've also talked about how to strengthen your mindset armor. And I gave you 3 very specific things that you can start doing on a daily basis. I don't want to say should, but I highly recommend that you do some iteration of those 3 things from that episode. And for this week's episode, we are going to talk about how to win the mindset battle, right? Because that's why we're here. We did not start working for ourselves or create a styling business because we want to just have another job that's stressful for us, or because we want to crash and burn and fail and not be successful, right? We came to win. And I don't know, if you're like me, I like to win. I'm super competitive. So if that helps you frame this up, then that's totally fine. But we came to win, and if you came to win the game, the business game, then you need to also win the mindset game, because that is where it all generates from. So number 1, if you want to win the mindset battle, you need to know that you're playing the long game. It is not just, there's the phrase, right? Like, you may have won the battle but lost the war. Dang, maybe this whole thing should have been how to win the mindset war. Anyway, it works. It still works, right? It's the same premise. You can win a battle but not win the war. So you can lose a mindset battle. Wait, it's falling apart. Anyway, let's switch it up. Anyway, know you're playing the long game, right? You may, here we go, fall back into your fear. You may fall back into comparing yourself to others. You may feel really overwhelmed. So you've lost that little mini mindset battle, but you can still win the mindset war. So there we go. I kind of finally pulled it together. So, but know that you're playing this long game. And we've talked so much about repetition in this series, and it's for a reason. It can take your brain a long time. It's going to take your brain a lot of mini battles to ultimately rewire itself to the new mindset belief. Once you've rewired that belief, that's awesome. That one's not coming back, but you may have a new belief pop up, or you may have not really fully done the work on that old one, and it may crop up again, but in a different circumstance. This is a lifelong journey. So it is something that you are always going to be working on. There's always going to be something else to improve. There's kind of a little common saying of, a lot of times people are very afraid of failing. But once they get a certain level of success, they're actually really afraid of success. They're afraid of having to be bigger and step into these bigger shoes and being seen more. So in this lifelong journey, things always come up. I started my own personal development journey probably 4 years ago in 2016. And only now am I really starting to break apart some of those core beliefs and understanding the work that I need to do. So it's an ongoing thing. It's a long game to really win these battles, to fall back on some of the battles, to ultimately win the biggest battle ever, to win the mindset war. Number 2, if you want to win the mindset battle, then you need to decide to do what it takes. So because this is a lifelong journey, you're going to go through some shit. And it means looking at your shit. It means fixing your shit, okay? But not in a way that you're going to beat yourself up about. My mentor, Susie, says that her mentor, Gay Hendricks, says to her that there's absolutely no benefit whatsoever in beating yourself up. There's no value in that. You don't get anything good from that. Nothing good comes from that. So what's the point? So look at yourself, look at your actions, and instead of beating yourself up for it, be curious about the way you react, the way you do. Why are you not seeing what you want in your life? Instead of beating yourself up, examine those patterns and then commit to doing what it takes. So for some people, this path to healing, this path to doing what it takes is going to look very differently. Some modalities are going to really hit home with you. Some are going to feel too weird to you, and you're never going to want to do those. But some of the things you can do are therapy. You could do art therapy. You could do, and by art therapy, I mean kind of like art mandalas. You can look that up. Hypnotherapy. You can take courses, transformational courses. You can read books. You can listen to podcasts. This may mean investing your money in transformation and healing. As you dive deeper, you may find more alternative or experimental ways of healing that you want to do. You may seek more of a self-healing journey. That's kind of a big thing that's going on right now, is through enrolling in courses and things like that. You can do a little more self-healing without necessarily going to a practitioner. And it's going to be hard. You may absolutely upend your life or you may recognize that how you've been living your life is not in alignment with how you're meant to be living your life. And that leads us directly into number 3, which if you want to win the mindset battle, you need to bet on yourself. You will go through hard times, and I can guarantee you that it will be hard, but I can guarantee you that it will be worth it. And I can also guarantee you that you have every answer to your questions inside of your body. So this may sound absolutely crazy, but if you've ever heard someone say, trust your gut, or you could feel the tension in the room, you could cut the tension in the room with a knife, those are 2 very real evidences of this energy that people create. So if you're interested in this, you can go down the whole metaphysical science realm of energy in our body, how we create energy, how our thoughts are energy. But know that you have the energy inside yourself to know and figure out the truth. We have been taught from a very young age from school to think with our head, to obey instructions, and to really not listen to or attune to matters of the heart until it is really hard and we can no longer ignore it. So I also believe that when there is something inside of you that you know is not right, you're going to feel unsettled. And this may actually produce anxieties and fear. It may produce your body feeling weird. You may cry. You may not know why these things are happening, but it's your body trying to talk to you. And when you start to dig deep, whether that's through therapy or journaling or some of these other exercises, that intuition is going to start to come up, and you can start to trust and listen to the wisdom of yourself. I remember distinctly Glennon Doyle. If you have not read her book Untamed, I should be an affiliate or something because I love this book so much. She talks about how when she was at a very low point in her life, her husband had cheated on her, that she went to Google and was typing in what to do with my husband who's a cheater, but who is a very great dad. And essentially what she said is she had this super huge daunting question in her life. And she turned to, I think she calls them literally idiots on the internet, to ask questions of other people who are not living her life, who are not her, to give her answers on how she should live her own life. And eventually she got to this point where she was able to kind of, essentially I will call it meditate, but go into herself and trust her intuition. There are other exercises you can do, such as the body compass. We did this in one of my, in my masterclass on how to create virtual services. We did a little mini body exercise. And it was so fun to hear people when they tuned into themselves, they asked themselves questions, they would feel the jolt of excitement in their body, or they would feel something bubbling up, and then a suppression as the ego tried to take over. What I want to encourage you to do is to just bet on yourself and tune in to your intuition. So to close out this month's series, I want to invite you to download a worksheet in this week's podcast show notes that's going to help you assign action to these lessons. So I don't want you to just listen. I want you to actually do. That is the ultimate way to win the mindset battle. Because there's a difference between knowing things and a difference between living things, right? There's a difference between knowing I shouldn't freak out about money and then freaking out about money every time I open my bank account. When you finally get to the point where you can think about money and not freak out, then you've crossed that line between knowing and living. And that's where I want you to do. So the first step is to doing. And when you download this exercise, there will be a series of 4 questions that will help you explore this whole idea of mindset stuff. It may be so weird to you, it may be so new, or you may be more of a seasoned expert. Either way, by writing these things down, it's going to help solidify in yourself, for yourself, your beliefs and your why and your commitment to winning the mindset battle, and the war. So thank you all so much for tuning into these 4 smaller episodes. I truly love sharing this with you, snippet into my own practices, things I've learned, lessons I've gone through. And I hope that in some small way you're inspired in your own journey. I know I would not be here without people sharing their stories. And I believe stories are so powerful and that they can change not only your life, but they can change other people's lives. So as you listen, do the exercises, tag me on stories, share what you're learning, and let's take this stuff with us and create our own beautiful futures. So thank you so much. I will see you next time on the From Hobby to Full-Time podcast. Bye, y'all.